Hello everyone, it's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes. Today we're looking at a beautiful merging of energies. The Sun and Neptune are coming together in a conjunction in Pisces, the sign that Neptune rules. And this is happening on March 10th, literally right before the Pisces new moon on March 13th and the equinox, which celebrates the beginning of spring in the Northern Hemisphere and fall in the Southern Hemisphere, the equinox when everything is in balance, which is on March 20th. So this is a very exciting time as we will dive into the strength, the courage of the Sun and the ability to listen and tune into divine guidance that Neptune represents. So this is about strength and surrender merged as one. Now the Sun symbolizes courage. Courage comes from the word cor in Latin, which is your heart. So to have the courage to express yourself in a heartfelt way through perseverance and transcending fear and being patient. So the Sun lights up our life through joy and optimism and creativity, strength, a sense of fun. Neptune symbolizes unconditional love, compassion, unification, unity consciousness. We are all one. Humility, patience, kindness, your imagination, and of course, spirituality. And blended together in Pisces right before and during the new moon, the Sun and Neptune literally epitomize what quality of expression to activate in any given moment. So when to stand firm, when to surrender, when to be strong, when to be gentle, when to endure, and when to let go. And these qualities of expression can only be felt in the moment, where timing is everything, as usual. And when we listen, then we will live a life where we feel in balance. When we don't, then of course, problems arise. So the strength of the Sun is not a strength when it's not balanced by compassion and receptivity and kindness and a willingness to compromise. So as always, a moment-to-moment listening is required. Otherwise, the ego takes over. The shadow side of Pisces starts expressing itself. In this case, it's Pisces. And Neptune's shadow side would be feeling victimized, being addictive, deceptive, believing in illusions, codependency. And so in this sense, kindness would turn into feeling like you're a victim. And courage can turn into being foolish. Peace can turn into being passive. Surrender can turn into submission. These are the shadow side expressions of these positive qualities. Optimism can turn into blind faith. And endurance can become rigid or a blind attachment to old ways, to tradition. So it requires wisdom to apply the positive qualities of each sign, of each number, of each planet in just the right degree at the right time, right? And often the misapplication of positive qualities is hidden from us. And Pisces represents that veil, that not seeing clearly. That is the shadow side of Pisces. So the misapplication of positive qualities can be hidden, meaning it's difficult to see. It's hidden behind a veil. For example, going to war can be masked as honorable for love of country, right? So that masking of the atrocities of war can be justified for the love of a country. And selfishness can be masked by individualism. Oh, this person is just being, who they are, they're being special. This is just their expression, but that can turn into selfishness, right? Intolerance, whether it's religious or other, can be masked by righteous action. And greed and the corporate culture can be masked as freedom. I mean, there's many ways we mask a positive quality and misapply it and create all sorts of challenging situations in our life. These shadow expressions of these positive qualities even become acceptable in society because they appear other than what they actually are. And this is the shadow side of Pisces that we're coming to terms with. The Piscean age is the age we are leaving. We're moving into the Aquarian age. So a lot of unmasking is being done right now and will be still going on for quite a while. And so that's why when we enter the realm every year of the sun in Pisces, and in this case, the sun conjunct Neptune right before the Pisces new moon, this is when it really can come to a head and we can pierce through the veil. So the sun-Neptune conjunction reminds us to be inspired by the present moment so that we can really sense when to act, sense through our intuition. And this way, the ego doesn't determine your actions. The flow of life determines your actions. And so if courage is needed, you experience courage. If patience is required, you experience patience. And this is called enlightened living. So you may hear the word enlightened and you might feel, oh, that's unattainable. That's really unrealistic to expect people to be acting in an enlightened way. But actually, that's not true at all. You might think that if you met an enlightened person that they've transcended every issue. They've basically become superhuman, the guru persona, but this is totally false. That's not the meaning of enlightenment. And you may not even know that you run into people who are enlightened or nearly enlightened, just that you sense that they're just super nice people and you feel very happy around them. And it's only if you get to know that person intimately over a period of time that you realize there's something special about that person. They're still ordinary. They're not standing out. They're not necessarily magnetic, but they're exemplary in terms of how they live their life. So they're not gods. They don't have this special, these special powers. They have their flaws like anyone else, but what's really important is that you see that enlightenment is not only attainable, but it's vital to humanity actually continuing and for us to thrive. And here's the thing. Egocentric living is very much been accepted. It's very much been encouraged for a long, long time. So it's hard to fathom a different way of life, a life that is actually lived in a loving way, in a peaceful way. It's hard to fathom a life like that. So we need to just get very much to terms with the illusion, Pisces, the illusion of the ego. The ego is plain and simple a negative part of who we are. We have one, everyone has an ego, but we need to call it when it appears. We got to call it out. And we need to know that we are other than the ego. We are goodness. We are courage. We are Sun Pisces merged together. We are everything that wants to be free of negativity. You want love. You want peace. The goodness that you are is lovable, and it's all you've ever been. So you'll recognize that false image of yourself when it focuses on things like comparing yourself to others, being in a competitive mindset, being in a judgmental mindset, feeling guilty, feeling shame, complaining, self-doubt, discontentment, or just way off the rocker nonsense, right? So no wonder feeling happy is difficult for people. But the thing is, when you are happy, loving is so easy. If you look at your life and you look at the times you've been most happy, those have also been the times in your life you've been most loving. And so you are what the sun, our star, represents. You are life itself. The sun brings life to planet Earth. You are life. You are the sun. Your sun sign is called a sun sign because that's where the sun was navigating when you were born. That is a sense of life, the sun. And you're just happy to be alive. So allow yourself to be guided by something that is beyond your thoughts, beyond your perceived character, something that's mysterious, the Pisces mystery that's so intimate, so kind, so familiar, so true that it can't be denied. Allow yourself to be guided by that. By allowing yourself to be guided in this way, you are immediately, instantly happy. Life goes well, love flows, and basically you've discovered the key to happiness. So what prevents you from doing this is listening to those stream of thoughts in your head that obviously are not meant to give you any kind of guidance except practical guidance. So don't give your thought stream your attention or your loyalty. Loyalty is key here. Don't let it hold you captive to negative thoughts, limitation, out of control negative emotions, fear, and just allow yourself to listen, to be guided. It's like once you realize someone is no longer trustworthy, stop giving that person your loyalty and your attention. Stop believing that person. And that's what you need to do with the stream of thoughts in your head. You need to question each one. And that's when true living can begin, which is what the sun represents. So the false self conceals and hides, which are shadow qualities of Pisces and Neptune, the beautiful individuality and creativity in you, and that surprising spontaneity and love that is true to you, that is always accessible, always there. So when you think about what is necessary to live a life of joy, there's not much else you need except wisdom and love and patience, perseverance, peace, kindness, acceptance, right? Those are your strengths. You can handle anything that comes your way with those strengths. And by discarding fear, by discarding negative emotions, those wonderful qualities, those are your untapped resources. So finally, let's look at surrender, because Pisces, if it's anything, Neptune, if it's anything, it represents the surrender to love. And occasionally, of course, we all have these fears where we speculate about the future. What's going to happen to me? What will I do in this situation? Will I be able to pay my bills? What if I need to move? What if I don't find a partner? All these fears, right? These are natural thoughts, but they're definitely not helping us. They're not useful. And since they aren't useful, it really makes a lot of sense to take your attention and place it elsewhere, somewhere more productive. Because upon reflection, you start to notice whether the situation is stressful that you're focusing on, that you're afraid of, that you're projecting into the future about. You realize that it's the thoughts about the situation that are causing stress, not the situation itself. And this is very, very important. If you knew something better was around the corner, would you feel stressful? Of course not. You would basically be excited about what was coming. So what makes the situation stressful is the not knowing part, right? What will happen? Not knowing what will happen, or assuming something negative will happen. So what if not knowing was totally okay with you? What if you stopped assuming there would be a bad outcome? Many situations are beyond your control, but you are totally in control of whether you're okay with not knowing the outcome. And you assuming there'll be an outcome you don't like. You're in control of that. You have the power to choose what to conclude about any situation that you find yourself in. You have that power. You've always had that power. And your decision on what to conclude, that decision determines whether or not you're happy, whether or not you feel equipped to handle any situation, can function in any situation. So this is why living one moment at a time, instead of getting caught up in an imaginary future, the illusion, the Maya, right? The Maya. This is really the key. So just be here in the moment, be inspired. Being here in the moment is the greatest thing you can do. It really is not that bad. I know it's fun to get caught up in what if and, thinking about what might happen and all these imagination tangents we can go on. But when you're here right now, you're not escaping. And the positive expression of listening acutely to divine guidance, the result is joy, right? This is very positive. Without a negative thought about the future, remaining in a positive frame by focusing on now, by being grateful. Being grateful is one of the wonderful ways you can move out of fear. Just imagine what you're grateful for. Focus on that. And the fear cannot exist with the gratitude. So thoughts about the future are what is creating all the noise, the problems. Your mind makes up a negative future that will never happen. The crystal ball that your mind pretends to be has access only to scenarios that are scary, that are not ones to look forward to. So why go there? That's the question. It's the last thing we need right now in these unprecedented times of change, right? We don't need to be more scared. We don't need to be frightened. It puts us in a very dysfunctional state of being. Stress is not functional at all, right? Stress is totally dissociating from life. And change is never dangerous. Change is part of life. Change is natural. The change of seasons that we're about to celebrate. It's part of growth. It's natural. It's basically what evolving is all about. And we're in a 5 universal year in 2021, and 5 is the number of change. It sits on a rocker. It faces left and right. It is literally about surprises, sudden shifts, and surprises. And change is often necessary for happiness. You might notice that the people that are unhappy are the ones who refuse to change when life asked for a nudge to make a kind of shift and they said no. So change is truly vital to growth, to joy, and it is what takes you from ordinary to enlightened. So free yourself from that attachment to your thought stream, the constant, ongoing, egoic trap, the illusionary, pay attention to me. That needs to go. Trust and surrender to inspiration, to in-the-moment living. And this is really the true message of the times we're in now, the highest expression of Pisces, and this conjunction of the Sun and Neptune, while Neptune is in its own sign of Pisces. This is happening every year. We're having more and more insights. Every year the Sun comes around and conjuncts Neptune until Neptune leaves Pisces in a few years. And every year we're given more to see. And this is one of those amazing years since it happens in conjunction with the Pisces new moon. Very, very thrilling. Such a great opportunity to set yourself free. So have an incredible week, and remember your own star code is expressed in your birthday, your birth time, your birth name. We have a set of numbers, we have your star code, and you can learn so much about who you are. Go to starcodeclass.com. It's all revealed, plus there's a lovely handout as well. Just go to starcodeclass.com. Have a beautiful week, and I really look forward to seeing you in next week's Star Codes podcast.